It seems like Donald Trump's cabinet officials are in constant competition to see who can be the worst at their job. And while Pam Bondi is clearly at the top of that ladder right now, Pete Hegseth is not allowing her to hold that current position without putting up a fight, because Pete, of course, has gotten himself into a new scandal so bad that a shock firing just took place at the Pentagon. We are going to get into it all and how a new leak is rocking Hegseth once again. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this shocking scandal that has erupted at the Pentagon, we have to start with the leak that spurred it all on, and we can see that in this article right here. Entire National Guard network compromised after hack. A group of hackers with connection to the People's Republic of China have compromised the International Guard network, according to a Department of Homeland Security memo. A Department of Defense report found that the hacking group, known as Salt Typhoon, had extensively compromised a U.S. state's Army National Guard network from March 2024 through December, the June 11th memo revealed, obtained by NBC News. The memo did not divulge which state's National Guard network had been breached, yet according to the DoD, helmed by Pete Hegseth, the sensitive data included these networks' administrator credentials and network diagrams, which could be used to facilitate follow-on Salt Typhoon hacks of these units. According to the DHS, it opens the door for the group to facilitate the hacking of other states' Army National Guard units and possibly many of their state-level cybersecurity partners. The DHS memo warned if the PRC-associated cyber actors that conducted the hack succeeded in the latter, it could hamstring state-level cybersecurity patterns' ability to defend U.S. critical infrastructure against PRC cyber campaigns in the event of a crisis or conflict. So Pete Hegseth is once again dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties, but this should come as no surprise considering the lack of experience that he has and the people he has surrounded himself with or has made sure aren't a part of his administration anymore, or they've, of course, left him behind because they realize what a goofball and a screw-up he is. But that came to light in a very important moment that I want to take a look at from just a few weeks ago that gives some context to this latest move from Hegseth.
Just asking if it applies to you.
Successfully.
I'm not asking about the
previous
Houthis.
administration let our ships get shot at, and nothing was done about it. And thankfully, because of the skill and courage of our troops on the battlefield,
asking about
we
I reclaim
actually
my
put them
time.
in a place where they called for a ceasefire.
I reclaim my time. I'm just asking if accountability applies to you. It's a very simple question. We use leadership by example.
Of course. Unlike, I serve at the pleasure of the president like everybody else does.
So it only applies to the president, not to you.
I serve at the pleasure.
You talked about the success of the Houthi operation. About how much money did it cost? How much money did you spend on missiles shooting at the Houthis?
Well, you'd have to compare that with what it cost.
I'm just asking how much did it cost?
Divert our shipping lanes around.
I'm told it's several $100 million, maybe close to $1 billion. How many U.S.-flagged commercial ships have transited the Red Sea since your so-called successful operation?
Well, thankfully, unlike the previous administration,
the answer is zero.
Military vessels transit.
No, I didn't ask about military vessels. I asked about commercial vessels.
Which would be the precursor for
how many commercial
vessels?
It's been several weeks. How many commercial vessels, U.S. flagged, have transited the Red Sea?
Would you, Mr. Congressman, put civilian ships?
The questions are not to me, Mr. Secretary. They're to you.
We have responsibly put military.
The answer is zero.
First.
I reclaim my time. How many generals and admirals have you fired?
I don't know the exact number. But
you don't know the number. It's 8. Can you explain why any of them were fired? Like, just explain why was the Army JAG fired? Why did you fire him?
They all serve at the pleasure of the president, and I think.
No, I'm just asking you why.
General Kane is a great example.
I'm just asking you why. You probably learned at Princeton what why means. Why did you fire him?
They serve at the pleasure of the president, and we want better representation in each and every of those.
You can't explain why you fired any of them?
We know that Pete Hegseth's job is ultimately just to do whatever Donald Trump wants. He is simply an extension of him, much like Pam Bondi, and so he was willing to fire anyone who wouldn't immediately fall in line. And later in this video, I'm going to take a look at one of those very shocking reasons, but we just got another shocking example of that, and it comes in this article right here. Pete Hegseth loses yet another top Pentagon aide. The Pentagon continues to shed staff under Trump-appointed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, with yet another senior aide leaving his position this week. The latest person to quit is senior staffer and Hegseth advisor Justin Fulcher. Through the exact circumstances circumstances surrounding the departure are unclear. Fulcher was promoted to his role at the Pentagon from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency in April. His promotion was announced in April as part of the establishment of a new Department of Leadership that included many other members of the new Hegseth team. The new leadership team was created after Hegseth fired 3 of his top aides following a probe into the Signalgate leaks. His deputy chief of staff, senior advisor, chief of staff were all placed on leave before ultimately being terminated in April. Hegseth's chief of staff, Joe Casper, was transitioned into a new role as special government employee handling special projects. The numerous personnel changes in April caused chaos at the Pentagon, with one defense official telling Politico, "There is a complete meltdown in that building, and this is really reflecting on the secretary's leadership." The official also worries that Hegseth has surrounded himself with people who don't have his best interests at heart. So more staff is unsurprisingly leaving the Pentagon under this complete lack of leadership, but it's important in the current context of what we've seen allowed from Pete Hegseth to recognize why, both why people are leaving and why people are being fired. And it has a lot to do with the question that Senator Slott can ask Pete Hegseth right here.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I said in your hearing, when you had your confirmation hearing, that my biggest concern with you at the helm was the potential use of the military in ways that contradict the Constitution or that taint what I hope we all want, which is an apolitical military. And when I asked you about whether you would accept an order that was actually given to your predecessor, Secretary Esper, Trump's SecDef, to deploy active duty troops against unarmed protesters and to, in Secretary Esper's words, shoot at them, shoot at their legs. You said this was all theoretical. Here we are, a few months later, you've deployed 4,700 troops to Los Angeles and against the wishes of the governor. And my colleague across the aisle was right. It is the first time since 1965 that we have deployed Guard troops without the permission of the governor. In all the instances he laid out, the president had sent in the military to protect protesters, not against the protesters. So you may dismiss it, but I feel like this is a fundamental issue of American democracy. If you love your country and you want an apolitical military, then it should be the last resort, not the first resort in our country to use them. So to get to the non-theoretical, have you authorized the uniformed military to detain or arrest protesters in Los Angeles?
Senator, I would just start by saying you're not a protester if you're throwing concrete
100%.
at law
Arrest those
enforcement
people.
officers.
Throw them in the jail. 100%. But what you're doing is something different. Everyone knows this is a political decision, right? So we don't trust that you're using the best interests of the military, certainly, and of democracy on top of that. So have you given the order? That's all I want to know. It's not theoretical. For the U.S. military, not law enforcement. They can arrest all day long. That's their job. Do they have the ability, the uniformed military, to arrest and detain protesters currently today? It's a yes or no thing. Authority.
It's sort of amusing the extent to which the speculation is out there. These troops are given very clear orders.
Then what is the order? Then list it out for us. Be a man. List it out. Did you authorize them to detain or arrest? That is a fundamental issue of democracy. I'm not trying to be a snot here. I'm just trying to get the actual. Did you authorize them to do that?
All of these orders and what they're sent there to do are public. They are there
so say it. So say it. Yes or no?
I'd like to.
Please, yes or no?
As I've said time and time again through interruption, they're there to protect law enforcement,
do they have
ICE
the ability
officers
to arrest?
who are trying to do their job, deporting illegals who were allowed in by the previous administration.
So they cannot arrest and detain citizens of the United States, the uniformed military.
As we've stated, if necessary, in their own self-defense, they could temporarily detain and hand over to ICE. But there's no arresting going on. And you know this better than you're trying to play political games. There's no arresting of U.S. personnel.
Of the U.S. military against members of the protest. Have you authorized U.S. military cyber tools to investigate people participating in these protests? Yes or no?
Certainly in no way that I'd be aware of.
Okay, that's good. I love that answer. That's great. Have you given the order to be able to shoot at unarmed protesters in any way? I'm just asking the question. Don't laugh. Like the whole country. And by the way, my colleagues across the aisle.
What is that based on? What evidence would you have that an order like that has ever been given?
It is based on Donald Trump giving that order to your predecessor, to a Republican Secretary of Defense, who I give a lot of credit to because he didn't accept the order. He had more guts and balls than you because he said, I'm not going to send in the uniformed military to do something that I know in my gut isn't right. He was asked to shoot at their legs. He wrote that in his book. That's not hearsay. So your poo-pooing of this, it just shows you don't understand who we are as a country, who we are. And all of my colleagues across the aisle, especially the ones that served, should want an apolitical military and not want citizens to be scared of their own military. I love the military. I served alongside my whole life, so I'm worried about you tainting it. Have you given the order? Have you given the order that they can use lethal force against honor? I want the answer to be no. Please tell me it's no. Have you given the order?
Senator, I'd be careful what you read in books and believing it, except for the Bible.
Oh, my God. So your former predecessor, I guess that's not enough for you. Okay, on Iran. I don't think there's a debate. There's like a cat fight going on in your own party about whether to go after Iran. Have you commissioned any day after planning? So any force protection, any use of ground troops in Iran, any cost assessments? Because I don't think we doubt what we can do as a country in the attack. It's the day after with Iraq and Afghanistan that so many of us have learned to be so deeply concerned about. Have you authorized day after planning?
As I've said, we have plans for everything, Senator.
Okay.
Donald Trump didn't just militarize his goons in LA for the purpose of creating a single political stunt. He didn't just want that image there for the week, for the extended week. It's been weeks since he sent the National Guard to Los Angeles. It's because Donald Trump wanted to normalize it. It wasn't just about the PR campaign of that day. It wasn't just the distraction from the other failures of his administration. He wants this to seem normal. He wants it to be normal for troops to be running through your neighborhood, for them to be staying in parks where kids play soccer for no reason, no justification, wasting our tax dollars. Donald Trump wants the presence of intimidation to be in every community possible. And Pete Hegseth will help him carry that out. Other secretaries of defense rightfully told Donald Trump no when he called on them to shoot at protesters, to engage in some of the most egregious acts we've heard reported out of the prior administration. Pete Hegseth's not going to do that. He won't be saying no. These firings are a part of a very long narrative of how unqualified he is and how much people don't trust him. But Pete Hegseth, I guess, doesn't really care as long as he's making the boss happy and as long as he can do whatever he wants, which is why it is so important that we continue to give attention to this issue. We're certainly going to be on this show, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.